may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. As I've been sitting here for a while, getting ready for the show, and what do? Totally botched beginning, got totally sidetracked. Why isn't that coming up? Why isn't that coming up? Come on. There we go. There we go. Come on, get me in focus. Get me in focus. I'm always blurry. Always blurry. Trying to do a couple things. Bump, bump. All right. Let's see if I can trick the camera into focusing. There we go. There we go. All right. I got to shut that program down. I got to fix one last thing I forgot to shut down. Doop. Make sure that quits running. And that's what I thought. Let me get. There we go. And that should have us back up and running now. You can see some of the programs I'm using if you're watching on YouTube or shrmedia.com or Reaver.one. Why is that? Hopefully that fixes it. What I was trying to do is broadcast just from one computer, and the program I had to use to split the stream just seems to be taxing my computer so goddamn bad. It just can't do it. So, well, we got an old running, no green screen on Facebook. Now, if I could just hold on. Why won't that do that? Nope. Oh, I don't want that camera. Oh, should let me. Oh, come on. What's going on now? I did have this problem earlier. It's not letting me make this. There we go. Now I went too far. All right, there we go. I have a little, I guess, oil on my hand from where I was sharpening another knife. Yeah, I get bored right before the show, and I also sometimes do it during the show to keep my head going. Now that I totally botched the start of the Reaver of Common Sense, welcome. I had a great, relaxing weekend, maybe too relaxing. Me and the family. Well, I picked my daughter. Well, my wife picked my daughter up Saturday. She's back. I'm happy as anything to have my daughter back in the house. And no, it was nothing bad. She went to the in-laws for a month and spent time with her grandparents, which is a good thing to do. And well, on top of that, Sunday we went to Fort DeSoto to go shark teeth hunting, just and shell hunting. It was just something to do. And now it seems like we got a new little hobby, and we're talking about this weekend going to Venice, Florida Beach. It's supposed to be real good for shark teeth hunting, I should say. We're not hunting sharks. I only do that at Skyway Bridge, and that's only black tips, and I release them. So a lot happened. Friday, Ryan's Priebus stepped aside, and Kelly took over. And now, well, Kelly is, you might see a cleaning of the house, I might say. During Monday's White House press briefing, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders stated that President Trump thought outgoing White House Communication Director Anthony Scaramucci comments were not appropriate, announced that all White House staff will report to Chief of Staff John Kelly. Yes, Scaramucci has been let go. It was a rough 10 days, but I don't even want to speculate on what was in his head when he made those comments. That was not smart. That was pretty asinine in my book. So, Sanders stated Scaramucci does not have a role at this time in the Trump administration. Sanders responded to a question on whether Scaramucci left voluntarily or was asked to leave by the president or Kelly by stating she wouldn't get into the process. The rumors are Kelly did not think it was appropriate. They asked Scaramucci to step down, and he resigned. One of the things I'm getting tired of. Oh, my God, this proves it. Oh, my God, there's so much upheaval. Presidencies go through this, especially when they first get in office. Relax. And I've already told you, he's getting the establishment out of there. He had to bring in these RNC guys, and now he's phasing them out. And now Scaramucci was one of his guys, but if he didn't shoot his mouth off like he did to that reporter, he'd still be there. That's what hurt him. That interview he gave with a reporter. And he was dumb for trusting that reporter to begin with. So she responded, look, the president firmly felt that Anthony's comments were inappropriate for a person in that position. And he, President Trump, didn't want to burden General Kelly also with that line of succession. As I think I've made clear a few times over the course of the last couple of days to several of you individuals, but General Kelly has the full authority to operate within the White House, and all staff will report to him. Sanders later added, I think Scaramucci wants General Kelly to be able to operate fully with a clean slate, build his own team, while at the same time the president felt his comments were inappropriate. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. She later said that both Scaramucci and Kelly, I think, came to a mutual agreement and added of Scaramucci's departure. I think this was a mutual agreed conversation that took place between several people. It's simple, people. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just something that happened. The guy shot his mouth off, and he's paying the consequences. Let me tell you, I like this. The guy was a Trump guy. Trump brought him in. There was an issue. It was handled. The guy's gone. How many of Obama's personnel fucked up, made huge mistakes, attacked conservatives using IRS, botched the outroll of a server, web server for Obamacare? And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. How many people were fired? Nope. Nothing. A couple people ended up walking away on their own. Obama didn't do nothing. Obama sat back and did not give a shit. Trump stepped up. Problem solved. Done. Go on. The liberals are going to try to make this out to be some masterful issue when it's nothing, people. It really isn't. This is nothing more than mainstream media having sound bites. Sheriff Joe, Sheriff Joe, has been found guilty. But here's the problem. Here's the problem I have. Found guilty by a Clinton-appointed judge in a juryless trial. That's right. There was no trial. This liberal judge decided that he was guilty. American Sheriff Joe was found guilty Monday of misdemeanor criminal contempt without the benefit of a jury of his peer. The guilt ruling by Bill Clinton-appointed U.S. District Judge Sarah Bolton is the latest chapter of a nearly decade-long saga of legal proceedings against Sheriff Joe, initiated by the leftist group opposed to his aggressive policy of illegal aliens. The 85-year-old will now face up to 6 months in jail. The charges against Joe stem from a civil rights suit demanding he cease racial profiling in his Maricopa County Sheriff's Office immigration enforcement operation. After a federal judge issued an order demanding certain practices, Joe was charged with contempt for continuing to try to enforce the law as he saw fit. Just because Joe was charged only with a misdemeanor punishable by a maximum of 6 months in jail, the U.S. Constitution does not guarantee him a right to trial by a jury of his peers. Joe and his attorneys repeatedly petitioned for a jury, only to be denied by Judge Bolton in March and again in May. Sources familiar with the proceedings have told the news that the decision to charge only the misdemeanor was likely a ploy by federal prosecutors to avoid a jury trial in the community where Joe served as sheriff for more than 20 years. National Center for Police Defense president, who was present in the courtroom, was highly skeptical a Phoenix jury could ever find Joe guilty. National Center of Police Defense president went on, I sat 3 days of testimony, and it was clear from the beginning that the DOJ had no evidence to make their case. In fact, all of DOJ's witnesses made it clear that Judge Snow's order was unclear and ambiguous. There is no way a jury would have determined that Joe willfully and intentionally violated the judge's order. Judge Bolton's ruling has caused me to lose my faith in the court system and the federal judiciary system. That's pretty strong. That's pretty strong right there, that the president of the National Center for Police Defense has lost faith in our court system. I don't blame him, but that says a lot. He went on that he was hardly the first or only commentator to question the impartiality of Joe's prosecution. In June, his group managed to assemble over 40,000 signatures from current and former law enforcement officers in support of Joe, delivering them to the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. After devoting 56 years of his life to upholding and defending the Constitution, Joe deserves our nation's eternal gratitude, not jail time. Those petitions read. The initial racial profiling suit that eventually led to his conviction also took on political dimensions, and its conduct was criticized. The judge in that case, G. Murray Snow, ignored calls to recuse himself based on the fact his brother-in-law is a partner at Covington and Burlington, the firm representing those suing Arpaio and Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. The liberals have stacked the deck, and quite questionably on their legality. This is a joke, and not a funny joke. If this could happen to Sheriff Joe, this could happen to anybody in this country. The decision to criminally prosecute Joe was taken while the DOJ was run by Attorney General Loretta Lynch. The same Attorney General Loretta Lynch that let Hillary Clinton walk free. It would be highly unusual for new leadership to intervene and drop an ongoing prosecution, and no such steps was taken despite a aforementioned petition. Joe now has the option to appeal his conviction to U.S. Court of Appeals for the 9th District. I understand the sheriff and his legal team will be filing appeal on his decision quickly, pointing to the ongoing appeals related to civil trials that gave birth to this prosecution. This is, without a doubt, a grave injustice. This is deplorable, disgusting, reprehensible. I can keep going on with adjectives to describe it. What this is not justice. What this is a witch hunt from liberals who don't like the laws enforced. Period. They don't like that he was enforcing the laws that were on the books and made it hard for illegals in this country to get away with it. Let's go. I'm going to bring up a sound clip from Arizona Central. See what they have to say. Hopefully it's good and there's no commercials that'll pop up right before. Hopefully I can find. No, I don't want to read court order. Here it is. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. No, it doesn't want to play. Come on.
Federal court ruling the judges decided Arpaio guilty. You probably have questions about it. I know I do. Megan has covered Arpaio and sat in on the federal trial for the time it was going on. So if you have questions, this is Facebook Live, so do the Facebook thing and send us questions in the comment field. But Megan, tell us what the judge decided here.
Sure. This is a long time coming. This case, the underlying racial profiling case, has been going on for almost a decade now. And so this was really ultimately the worst case scenario that could have happened for Arpaio, because after the initial case happened, the office was found that they had racially profiled Latinos during their immigration enforcement operations. Then even after that happened, after the judge had ordered tens of millions of dollars in reforms, then allegations started emerging that Arpaio had not been following the judge's orders.
So it wasn't even the judge's order. The sheriff's office essentially admitted well, I guess that's ahead. The civil contempt is ahead of, I got ahead of you.
Yes, sure. So about 2 years ago, there started to be some allegations that the sheriff's office wasn't following the judge's order. The most important order that they weren't following came from a preliminary injunction. So that was before the trial even happened, but the judge basically said, I kind of see the way that the wind is going. I'm going to just order you to stop detaining illegal immigrants if they are not also suspected of a state crime.
Okay, meaning...
Do we have a question?
We have a question from Facebook Live.
But even
Michelle
before the
Duke
background
would
is
like
over.
to know, will he likely be sentenced to prison?
Well, we'll get to there, but let's get through the background first. So the civil case was going on.
Yeah, civil case was going on, and Arpaio, let's see, he admitted basically that yes, mistakes were made, that even after this preliminary injunction happened, that there were now, I think the ACLU and other attorneys have found more than 150 people, I believe, were still detained illegally after the judge ordered them not to. So that just means that if somebody was found to be in the country illegally, they didn't commit any sort of a state crime, weren't accused of committing a state crime, the sheriff's deputies would still round them up and turn them over either to ICE or to Border Patrol. And so that was happening for about 17 months after the initial order had taken place.
And the office admitted that civilly we didn't follow the order.
Yeah, they said civilly, yes. Before the whole civil contempt trial happened, that was in 2015, I think really to try to get some sort of a plea deal, Arpaio's attorneys admitted that, yeah, I mean, we did it. Like there was really no argument that it happened. I mean, there are even internal records that show how many people that they had detained after this.
The question to make it a crime is whether you
intent.
Meant to do it.
Exactly, yeah. And so that's what this whole trial was about. Did he intentionally defy
this wasn't a
order?
Trial.
And what this ruling says today from federal Judge Bolton is that yes, all of the evidence that we've seen in this last trial in June and in July points to yes, he did intentionally defy this order.
So now the question that was asked.
Yes, now
Facebook,
the question:
will he go to prison?
Wow, legal experts. It's such a unique case. So it's really hard to tell. He does face up to 6 months in jail. It is that would be the equivalent of a misdemeanor. But a lot of legal experts are saying that's never going to happen. A lot of legal experts also said that we wouldn't even get this far. Right. So it's kind of a crapshoot.
Are they saying it's not going to happen because of the optics of, like, we typically don't see men of his age being placed behind bars?
I think there's that. You take into consideration his criminal history, which is none. His history, his law enforcement history, the community. He has over 55 years in law enforcement.
Which means the judge is going to sentence him probably
20
years.
Is one factor.
But I guess there are some people who would say he deserves to go to jail. And I guess the Shakespearean ending of this is him walking off the stage.
Stranger things have happened.
We have another question through Facebook.
We have a question from Ruth Wilson, who wants to know if he can be sued individually now that he's been found criminally guilty. Are there other possible civil things that could happen now that the criminal side is
so the question is whether, and boy, this gets tangled. The question is whether he can be sued civilly. What's ironic is this is what this was, right? Melendrez was a guy who decided to sue him civilly.
So actually, the I guess plaintiffs in this case are the victims, and the victims already kind of have sued him, and they are in the civil version of this case. They're working on a settlement right now. If the defendants take that, if the plaintiffs take that settlement, then they will not be allowed to sue him, but they could. They could still sue him in their own capacity, but there is
absolutely ridiculous. This whole trial is absolutely ridiculous. It was a witch hunt from the beginning. They had him guilty from the start. It's a shame what they're doing to this man that was such a great hero to this country. I mean, he stood up to Obama, and this is what happens when you tried standing up to wannabe dictators like Obama. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.dailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cat for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeovers here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a broadcast, it's easy. It's easy. Just go to shrmedia.com. Or you can go to Reaver.1, or you can go to YouTube and just search for shrmedia.com. There's so many options, so many ways. Let's see, where are we? All right, that was my musical hour. Oh, maybe we don't have the live stream anymore on SHR Media. All right. If you want, just go to Reaver.1. That's simple enough. Could have sworn I just heard a cat meowing. What the flip flam flop? And I was getting bleed over from the TV. Well, I'm not even going to touch on that. Fox is going over. There's a video that is very edited. Supposedly that he ignored a kid in a wheelchair and all this shit. And it's when you watch the unedited, he actually spent a considerable amount of time with the little kid. It's the left pulling their same shit that they do. They got to lie. And what's worse is J.K. Rowling's. She was out there, yep, on Twitter about it. I mean, going on until Piers Morgan, of all people, stood up and said, no. And it said it straight. Piers Morgan. That about confused me. All right, this next bit of news I am in love with. But I'm also kind of on it. Representative, why do I always do that? I always say Republican. I meant Representative Chris Collins, New York, a Republican from New York, introduced legislation Monday aimed at nullifying state-level gun controls that exceed gun controls put in place by federal government. New York's SAFE Act of 2013 is a prime example of the kind of gun control Collins hopes to erase. WKBW reports Collins' bill is titled the Second Amendment Guaranteed Act. Sega. And its language explicitly limits the authority of states to regulate conduct or impose penalty or taxes in relation to rifle or shotgun. It is designated to catch laws that go beyond federal statute to render them void. According to Buffalo News, Collins describes this Second Amendment Guarantee Act, saying that this legislation would protect the Second Amendment rights of New Yorkers that were unjustly taken away by Andrew Cuomo. I am a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment and have fought against all efforts to condemn these rights. I stand with law-abiding citizens of this state that have been outraged by the SAFE Act and voice my commitment to roll back these regulations. I love how they throw in that the name of it is the SAFE Act. Because, well, what are you going to do? I don't want the SAFE Act. Oh, he doesn't want everybody to be safe. He's so mean. What it does is it takes your rights away. And oh my God. I heard a Democrat bitching about the Republican health care. And they were trying to pass a blank piece of paper. First of all, what came to mind is Pelosi and Obama. You're going to have to pass it to know what's in it. And why I bring that up now is because the SAFE Act was signed in the wake of the heinous attacks on Sandy Hook Elementary. A package of gun control that include firearms registration, an assault rifle ban, a high-capacity magazine ban, and an expansion on background checks. And it was done in the late hours. Behind everybody's back, in the late hours, voted on. And what they don't tell you is none of these laws would have prevented the attack on Sandy Hook, as the key component of the attack was not the weapon used, but the amount of time the attacker had before he faced armed resistance. All right, now to are going at it on Fox. Juan, I repeat everything a liberal says. And Jesse Waters, they're fighting over the disabled reporter that's already been debunked, that the left keeps throwing down to everybody's throat. It's a joke. Okay, things are getting a little nuts over there. It's none of these laws that they have proposed on the left, none, zero, zilch, would have stopped any of these big time crimes that they just use for their causes. None of them. None of these laws and rules and regulations. Oh, okay. The terrorists, the ban on terrorists, no fly, no buy. Well, geez, you had two people that were on and then taken off. And if you go for a background check and you're on that ban list, it's going to pop up on your background check. And yes, you got to take a background check. Don't let them bullshit you. Fucking, it's. I don't know what more needs to be done. It's getting ridiculous when it comes to the left. It pisses me off when I see these laws pop up because none of them will stop. Because the left thinks that if they make a good law, the criminals will obey the law. Hey, jackass. Understand. Criminals do not obey laws. That's what makes them criminals. It's that simple. Criminals do not obey the law. So you could put as many goddamn laws. You could put 5 billion fucking laws in place on guns, and we're going to still have the same issues. The only one you are affecting is law abiding, and you are creating. This is to the Democrats. This is the anti-gun nut jobs, the cultists. You are creating victims. You are creating corpses with your laws. Nothing else. You are not stopping a single issue. And if it saves one child, stop abortion. Oh, that's different. That's different. Don't tell me what I could do with my body. Tell me, I have a right to defend my body. I have a right to carry a gun on my body. Don't tell me what to do with my body. If I want to carry a gun on my body, I should be allowed to. And you don't hear those arguments. God. Oh. The Sandy Hook Advisory Commission report, which was issued to Connecticut Governor Dan Malley, a Democrat after attack, shows that the attacker arrived at the school shortly before 9:30, and the first police on scene arrived at 9:39. This means the attacker had over 9 unimpeded minutes to shoot and kill without facing any armed resistance in a gun-free Sandy Hook zone. It also means that he could have taken in a 5-shot revolver and 2 pockets full of bullets and left behind a trail of carnage that would have been unimaginable. 9 minutes is an eternity in a situation like that. 9 minutes is forever when you're in a situation like that. And you can't have a cop in a pocket at all times. And this is not a dig on police. This is not a dig on any law enforcement. For the majority of the time, cops are there to clean up the aftermath. They're there to deal with the aftermath. They can't be everywhere. And even if they are, unless the guy is breaking the laws, there's not much he can do. That's what it came down to. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catholic student, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover's here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to watch a broadcast, it's easy. Go to Reaver.one and click on the SHR TV button. It's that simple, people. That simple. You can also go to YouTube. Search SHR Media. And once there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Oh, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? We were talking about the bill that was put in New York. Why I said I'm not 100% for it is I understand why he's putting that in. I understand. I really do. But what that could do is give too much power to states, which then the liberals, federal government, where the federal government overrules the states. And that's not how we're set up. We're set up that we are supposed to be, that the states, are the ones that make the majority of the rules. We become too reliant on the federal government. And something like this, I can see liberals pushing and overtaking. And, well, you guys did this rule, so we have the right to. Shit. I just think it'll go down the wrong path. So hopefully it doesn't get passed. And what I have to say to New York, I'm sorry. You got to figure out how to straighten out New York City. Basically, majority of New York, a lot of New York is conservative, but they're overtaken by New York City and the liberalism that's in that city. And it's just, if the liberals actually, if these people living in those liberal cities actually knew what they were promoting and what the truth was behind, they would go running and screaming away. They wouldn't keep electing the same people, but they buy into the bullshit so much because it's always the Republican fault. There's no Republicans in control in New York City. Oh, well, Detroit, there's no Republican, no Tea Party ever elected. Well, yeah, excuses come popping up then because who's been in charge? Democrats. That's right. Democrats. The Democrats have been in charge in these big cities and run them into a ground. Democrats are the ones that came up with the gun-free zone, which is nothing more than a smorgasbord for serial killers. Gun-free zones create corpses and victims. Whether it's a gun-free state or a gun-free zone or a gun-free building, that's where criminals are going to try to target for easy access. So prosecutions for illegal gun possessions are up 23% under President Donald Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. At the same time, Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens are being protected. According to an NRA, charges of unlawful possessions of a gun, mostly by convicted felons, are up 23% in the second quarter of 2017 from the same time period in 2016. Moreover, the number of defendants charged with the crime of using a firearm in a crime of violence or drug trafficking has increased by 10%. This stands in stark contrast to the way things were done during the Obama administration, a time in which prosecutions against individuals attempting to illegally buy a gun fell by 40%, while calls for more gun control rose exponentially. Yeah, people, that happened. Obama stopped prosecuting while then trying to push more gun control, which when he stopped prosecuting, more crimes started happening, people. This is what we elected. Of course, they'll make some kind of excuse and blame it on some nobody. What they do, they never take responsibility. They never take responsibility for their own acts. Hell, look at Obamacare, passed by only Democrats. But it's the Republicans' fault. It's failing. And people actually believe that comment. People actually believe. I've heard people, oh, it's Republicans' fault. So that's what this one said. It's Republicans' fault. It's Trump's fault. Oh, boy. Where to even start? It's the fact that Donald Trump and Sessions have gun convictions and charges up. This stands a stark contrast to the way things were done during Obama's administration. But on February 28, 2017, it was reported that AG Sessions asked the Department of Justice to increase prosecution of gun law violations so that suspects know they will pay a price for using guns in crimes. And then just 2 weeks later, he called again for harsh sentences for gun crimes as a way to forewarn would-be criminals that they will pay a price if they use a gun in the commission of a crime. But of course, the liberals went nuts and freaked out. Oh, we don't need more punishment. We need to be coddling them and wiping their diapers. And my dad said it best after he was shot. You know, my dad was put through the ringer by the police. They put him through the ringer. My family was treated like criminals at first by the police. I understand they were doing their job and all that. But you know what? The only ones that get justice, and there's a reason why they call it criminal justice, because only the criminals get justice. We always hear the Democrats on the side of the criminals. Well, you can't do that to them. That's not nice. Oh, that's cruel and unusual punishment that they have to be punished like that. It's always the left protecting criminals. Kind of goes to that old saying, takes one to know one. Maybe, baby. Maybe, baby. But the approach appears to be working. An IALA executive Chris Cox commented in the increase in prosecutions under Trump and Sessions, saying the National Rifle Association applauds President Donald Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions for understanding that prosecuting violent crimes and protecting the rights of law-abiding gun owners are not mutually exclusive ideas. He added, President Trump and Attorney General Sessions are making America safe again. And I love this one. Actually, I'm going to wait till after the next break to go over this article, because this deserves some time. This deserves some savoring about the tweets that have been sent out from Democrats. Oh, he's threatening us. He's threatening us. Oh, no. Oh, what a bunch of wimps. I'm sorry. It amazes me. Let's pick out another article. I love the way that I do not fear my guns are going to be taken away from me. I do not fear that the government's going to be overreaching. That one's connected to that one. Dang, come on. This city council reinstates Texas judge suspended for not being a U.S. citizen. Can you believe that? City of Corpus Christi, Texas council members voted to reinstate a municipal court judge after previously suspending her for not being a U.S. citizen, a requirement for the job. The reinstatement becomes effective at the end of her 90-day suspension. Officials suspended Judge Young Min Burkett in May when they discovered she did not meet the requirements of being a U.S. citizen. After discovering that what officials called an administrative error, City Council suspended the judge without pay to allow her time to complete her nationalization process. City Council suspended the judge without pay to allow her time to complete her naturalization process. Mayor Pro Tem Rubio told the Associated Press that no one asked her about her citizenship during the hiring process and qualification process. He also said she never attempted to deceive anyone or misrepresent her background. The city did not disclose if Judge Burkett filled out a required employment eligibility form, how she answered it, or who verified the information on the form. The Department of Homeland Security Employment Eligibility Verification Form, I-9, asks, under penalty of perjury, if the applicant is a citizen, non-citizen national of the U.S., a lawful permanent resident, or an alien authorized to work. I think they were asked. I think they were asked if they were a U.S. citizen. The Corpus Christi City Council voted 7-2 for reinstatement after Burkett completed her nationalization process. She became a U.S. citizen on July 5th, 51 days into her suspension. The Corpus Christi Caller Times reported. The council members voted without any public debate or comments. Two-member Mayor Pro Tem Lucy Rubio and Caroline Vague, voted against reinstatement but did not say why. Burkett began practicing as a judge in March 2015, and city officials did not discover the administrative error for 2 more years. This now raises questions about the legality of her rulings during the period where she did not have the qualification to be a municipal court judge. Rubio reported in May that the city's attorney said they reviewed the circumstances and stated that rulings Judge Burkett made during her tenure remained valid and lawful. Rubio said she was not sure if that was accurate. It is possible the rulings could be declared void. Abby and Neo, whatever. I don't speak Latin. Void from the beginning. It could be set aside through legal filings and voided. When reached out to Rubio to see if anyone has challenged any of Burkett's ruling, she still does not meet one of the requirements. Being a registered voter in the county, she registered vote on July 10th, 3 days after becoming a citizen. Her registration does not become active until after 30-day statutory waiting period ends on August 10th. While the council voted to reinstate her effective August 9th, she will not resume work until the completion of her suspension on August 14th. Now, I started looking at some of the comments that were underneath, and people were bitching. She gets to break the law, and nothing happens. And I've done employment, and I've had to sign that I, under perjury, prosecution of perjury, state I am a U.S. citizen. Just because it wasn't verbally, are you a citizen? Because then it's, oh, that's racist. You can't ask that. And during this time, she was not technically a citizen and did not meet the requirements. So I'm waiting for the shitload of appeals to come in on that. You know who will pay the price? When those criminals get off. Those families will be the ones paying the price of the victim. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catherine is stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mud Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. Oh, boy. Don't forget, you can watch the show, Reaver.1. Click on the SHR TV button. You can go to YouTube and search SHR Media. While you're there, don't forget to hit subscribe to keep up to date on all the shows that we do here. What else do we? Facebook. At Jersey Joe Talks. And I think SHR Media's they've taken down the website or the stream for right now. Of course, you could still get the radio, the audio right there on shrmedia.com, and you can jump into the chat room. And what's today? Monday. Yeah, Monday. I'm not going to make that mistake again like I did last week. Oh, Friday. Sitting there promoting that BZ Berserk Bobcat Saloon was going to be coming on, and then I remembered it was Friday, and he's only on Tuesday and Thursday. I felt like such a schmuck. So let's get on to there's a oh that's why. Yeah, something was weird. All right. What we have is President Trump took to Twitter on Monday to ask. Nope, I didn't even go back far enough. Dang it. I'm really screwing up, ain't I? That's it. I'm fired. Time to go. Here it is. President Trump hoping to prod reluctant lawmakers to once again try for an Obamacare overhaul deal has zeroed in on a benefit that could serve as a powerful piece of leverage for the negotiator in chief. The president's ultimatum to Congress: find out a way to forward on health care or lose a valuable insurance carved out for you and your staff. The benefit allows for part of their Obamacare premium cost to be covered by taxpayers. How you doing, Cal? Welcome to the show. The president will not accept those who said it is, quote, time to move on. That came from White House counsel Kellyanne Conway. The president has twice threatened to target the benefit in the wake of Senate Republicans failing to pass their so-called skinny repeal health care plan on Friday. If Obamacare is hurting people, and it is, why shouldn't it hurt the insurance companies? And why should Congress not be paying what the public pays? Trump tweeted on Monday. Over the weekend, Trump similarly warned he would end the bailouts for Congress if they don't pass a health care bill soon. The president issued this warning both to the insurance companies, referring to the controversial payments that could be in jeopardy, and to Congress. But his threat to end the benefit for the latter, the subject of a long-running Washington battle, could grab lawmakers' attention, considering allies say he has the authority to follow through. I think the president would be absolutely within his right to cancel the Obama rule that conferred this subsidy on Congress. Representative Ron DeSantis, Florida Republican. The carve-out itself dates back to 2013. Under the Obama administration, the Office of Personnel Management decided to grant what is often described as an exemption under the Obamacare Act, the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare, allowing lawmakers and their staff to keep getting a government subsidy for health care. Let me say that again. It grants what is often described as an exemption under the Affordable Care Act, allowing lawmakers and their staff to keep getting a government subsidy for health care. This required a special OPM decision to categorize Congress as a small business. allowing lawmakers and their aides to get government payments as an employer contribution through the exchange. Absent that, they would have been directed onto the individual exchange, which prohibits an employer contribution. The decision has drawn criticism from Republicans for years. DeSantis said killing the exemption would give lawmakers an incentive to get a health care plan approved. I applaud the president for raising this issue, and I think if he moves swiftly on it, I think you'll see a lot of these members and senators would want to work to repeal Obamacare very quickly. They don't want on Obamacare. They don't want on it. And DeSantis personally declines the subsidies. He pays full price. If they were put on the same health care and got the same crap health care and overpriced that we had to pay, maybe, just maybe, they'd get off their lazy asses. You know, if John McCain was getting the health care that we get, oh, he sure as hell would want better health care real quick for his brain tumor. And I'm not wishing ill. I'm not wishing ill on the man. But if he had the same type of health care we've had to deal with, the overprice, maybe. Instead of, from what I'm hearing in the background, after he voted down the repeal, joking with liberals and laughing, let's see Trump make America great now. Again, supposedly, John McCain, after voting down the skinny repeal, was overheard and seen laughing and joking with Democrats and stated, let's see Trump make America great now. You know what? Wouldn't put it past McCain. Trump did what McCain could never do. McCain is the one that sent Trump skyrocketing in the polls. McCain is responsible for President Trump. DeSantis, who introduced legislation in January to end these exemptions, referred to the rules that apply to small businesses with 50 employees or less. Congress, by contrast, employs over 20,000 people. Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican, Iowa, and Senator Ron Johnson, Republican for Wisconsin, have been outspoken on the exemptions as well, pushing to repeal payments for members of Congress. Other Americans who are in these exchanges are not getting employer subsidies. It's illegal, and yet somehow Congress gets a workaround, DeSantis says. But in a tweet storm on Saturday, Democrat Connecticut Senator Chris I'm a Pussy Murphy slammed Trump for his threat. This is a clear threat to Congress. Pass my health bill, or as a punishment, I will end health care for you, your staff, and your constituents. Murphy tweeted. Trump isn't saying these things will happen naturally. He has the power to cut off health care for legislative branch employees and crater exchanges. Well, how about you be in the you get exactly what we get? Murphy added moments later, I would argue this is a very serious moment. President making personal threats to us and our constituents if we don't pass his bill. No, he has not said pass any certain bill. He wants something done to help the American people, Mr. Murphy. Something you don't know the first thing about, Mr. Murphy. He wants to help us. He wants to alleviate the mess that you created, Chris Murphy. So I'm sorry you were such a pussy that something that simple is a threat. And if it is a threat that you would be put on the same type of health care that we have, then that means You and your Democrat butt buddies have threatened the American people by giving us Obamacare. So maybe you ought to think that you have threatened the American people by not repealing Obamacare, which you feel is a threat. And you know what? Trump just sitting back saying that he'll let it implode. It's already imploded because you, Mr. Murphy, created a shitstorm. This is a Democrat creation. Start looking in your own backyard, Chris Murphy. Go get a set of balls. Come back and talk to me then. Maybe your wife will loan them to you. You threatened me? What a fucking pussy. All he's trying to do, and anymore, all it seems like is these senators are trying to get sound bites. Oh, let me put a tweet out, and so I can get a bunch of retweets, and I can become Twitter famous. If anybody's ever seen my Twitter, you know I don't give a flying fuck about that shit. I don't give a shit about Facebook, social media. I do this because I enjoy doing it. The moment I don't enjoy it, the moment I'll stop. I don't do it to become famous. I don't do it to make money. I make $0 off of this show. Chris Murphy's up there making how much money a year? And that's why he does it. He doesn't do it for his constituents, because if he did, he wouldn't have given them this shitstorm that's called Obamacare. Oh, I'm sorry, a.k.a. Obamacare, Affordable Care Act. You wouldn't have had to lie to the American people. This will save you $2,500 on average a year. Yeah, it's costing double that to people now a month. And then there's the deductibles. Let's not even get into deductibles. Holy shit, are they raping you over that? And then the big insurance companies have the, well, we're broke. Yeah, you're getting paid up the ass. But then again, I can understand why you're broke, because everybody's backing out. Well, if you do away with Obamacare, 22 million people are going to lose their insurance. Well, there's like 30, 40 million people without insurance now because of Obamacare, because they can't fucking afford it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, there was a small percentage that needed insurance. Hey, guess what? More than 50% of them got put on Obamacare. Okay, Kev. It wasn't even Obamacare they were put on. They were put on Medicaid. They were eligible to begin with. They didn't know. God, there were so many ways to deal with this. Okay, we're going to expand the definition, where the poverty line is, and we're going to raise it up due to the economy going up. And, the economy is different nowadays. So we're going to raise it up to allow, more people to get onto Medicaid. And we're going to streamline the process. And we're going to start looking into maybe how to let people know to get checked out to see if they are eligible that don't have insurance. We're going to try to help the people that way. Oh, and we're going to put a law in that makes it that you can't be turned down for insurance because you have a prior health care problem. That's unconscionable. I bet you the Democrats would have went, all right, we're behind it. Let's just watch the Medicaid expansion. We don't want a lot of money being added. Okay. No, they had to blow the whole goddamn health industry up. And now what do we have? The pharmaceutical companies get paid exorbitant money. They charge us so much money for a pill. But then over in Europe, they don't charge them as much. Thanks, Democrats. Canada gets cheap medicine too. Thanks, Democrats. Oh.
God, my head hurts from this.
Seriously, I'm getting a headache. Chris Murphy, please pick up your balls. Get them from your wife. You're not doing anything better for the American people. All right, with that, we're going to continue on the other side of the break, but you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catholics do it, bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I'm your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. We're discussing Trump basically told Congress that unless they do something, there's something to try to fix Obamacare to make it better for the American people, a fix, an repeal, something, he is going to cut the subsidies to the insurance companies and to Congress. He will make Congress suffer just like the American people are suffering. And you have Chris Murphy that's crying, he's threatening me. He threatened me. So Chris Murphy, Democrat, who says that by being created equal like the American people are, it is a threat that he would have to have Obamacare as everybody else. So basically, Congress threatened the American people and followed through that threat by giving us Obamacare. It's hopefully Chris Murphy is allowed to see his balls during visitation rights. Hopefully his lawyer was that good that he at least gets visitation rights to his balls. Oh my God. It's just unbelievable that he would make a comment. He's threatening us. Fuck off. This fraud of instructing Congress to masquerade as a small business was the key to the scheme, because if members of Congress and their staff had signed up for Obamacare under the individual exchange, as any other American losing employer coverage has to, they would have had to pay their own premiums. And yeah, that would have been a whole different ballgame. Conservative groups have also pushed to end the exception for congressional members and staffers. Just last week, 40 leaders of conservative group wrote the president, urging him expeditiously to end the scheme. They also went on telling Trump that he has the power to end the scheme by directing OPM to rescind the Obama rule. White House Director of Legislative Affairs Mark Short said this policy is a perfect example of the swamp-like atmosphere in D.C. OPM and Obama administrators put out a special ruling that said that members of Congress and staff don't have to live by this law. Short criticized the special subsidy for Capitol Hill. You are forcing us to live with this, but you are getting an exemption, Short said. And Trump is asking basically, why does Congress and why do insurance companies get an exemption from Obamacare failings? President Trump took to Twitter Monday to ask why insurance companies and Congress are not being hurt by the failing of Obamacare, just as the American people are being hit. Trump stated today by noting that the unpopular healthcare law is hurting people, and asked why it isn't also hurting insurance company, and also why Congress is exempt. It's a simple question. But of course, you have Chris Murray threatening me. Yeah, but in the meantime, you know, the threats that have gone against Trump and the American people, you have Democrats protecting MS-13 personnel, the gang, I shouldn't call them personnel, gang members, and you have Democrats openly protecting them. But yes, I worry about Trump saying he's going to take away Obamacare exemptions from you is such a threat. Just right there, I'd be embarrassed to be a Democrat with somebody like him. God damn, man, get a set of balls. Seriously. Oh, man. I'm playing with something, too, in my hands. That has my attention for a second. And there we go. I'm sorry, simple-minded, simply amused. I admit it. All right, Trump has previously threatened to end what he called bailouts for insurance companies and Congress after failing the GOP-led Senate to pass either a health care reform bill. It's very simple. I mean, he's trying to get Congress to get off their ass to do something for the American people, not what's best for the party. And that's what it comes down for Obamacare. The Democrats know it's failing. They know it. That's why they keep trying to blame the Republicans for it. But because it's Obama's legacy, we don't want to do away with it. Hickory dickory duck. Please get off Obama's clock. What time is it? It is. I have no idea how that popped in my head, except I was thinking of shit. Who's that comedian that did those nursery rhymes? Having a brain fart. It's our Congress is a joke, and that's the funny part is you have Pelosi and Schumer. Trump is so unpopular. Hey, look at your own ratings. You're worse than him, you jackass. That's what's funny. You Paul Ryan, McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Pelosi. Trump's bad. I don't like him. Look at your own ratings, you jackass. You're worse than him. Congress has a worse rating than Obama. If you go by these polls, that's fine. You want to go by them, then we'll go. Mainstream media is worse than Trump. Congress is worse than Trump. Pelosi's worse than Trump. Schumer's worse than Trump. McCain, McConnell, they have worse ratings than Trump. So, where do they have a right to bitch and complain when they are worse than Trump? And I've seen plenty of polls that show him above 50%. And what you have to do, you really have to look at these polls when they come out, because they'll have the information down below. X amount of people here, this many, and this. You got to look at that data. And you want to look at not just how many Democrats or Republicans, you want to look at how many independents are in there. And then you're going to want to, you really want to see how that poll came out? Add up the independents and the Democrats and take a look at the approval or disapproval, whichever way it's going. If it's the approval rating of Trump, look at the disapproval rating and compare it to adding the Democrat and the independents up, and you'll come very damn close, because independents usually lined up with Democrats. And that's what they do. They rely heavily on these polls. They build it up with a lot of independents and more Democrats. And then, and the other thing is they put a lot of young people in there, because millennials, they believe whatever they read and see on TV and on the internet. Oh, it's said on there, it's the truth. So they believe in the bullshit that's put out there. And they believe all the lies and how great socialism is. Yeah, let's look at socialism even in Europe. It's starting to go downhill. Why? Because they're going to have to create their own military now. Why do they have to create their own military? Because we're not, and this started underneath Obama. So don't blame Trump. This started underneath Obama. Obama started pulling our military out of there. Why? Because he wanted to do more social programs back here at home. So he had to cut our military. And to do that, he had to pull them out of Europe, which also has left for Russia to come in. So if you really want to say anybody's soft on Russia, you want to look at Obama, because there's not only Uranium One, he's the one that pulled the defense system out of Europe. Obama pulled that missile defense system out of Europe and opened it up to make it easier for Putin to come marching in. Remember when he went in Ukraine and you went into Crimea? What did Obama do? Nothing. Bad boy, bad boy. You shouldn't do that. Hey, seriously, folks. But for that social experiment of socialism, everybody could do it better. Why? Because they didn't have to pay for their own military, because the great US of A was protecting them. So now they've had to start worrying about their own protection, which means they have to take money away from social programs and put it towards military protection defense programs. And now you have the EU going, we're going to build our own, which means you have to pay more money to the EU to create this. And if the EU has its own army, why do you need NATO? That's all the NATO countries there. But what's also happening now is all these countries had a free reign with NATO. They're like, oh, America's going to pay the bill. Don't worry about it. Oh, we missed the payment. Don't worry. America will pick up the bill. Trump came in and said, everybody needs to start paying their fair share. Something Obama was big on. Democrats are big on. Paying your fair share. Trump comes in and says, NATO, you better start paying your fair share. Oh, my God, he's against NATO. And what do we have now? NATO come up and going, everybody's got to start paying their fair share. We can't rely on the U.S. to always do it. Now the country's going, shit, we got to take money away from our social programs. All right. Do we let Russia come in and invade us, or do we pay for a defense? Well, let's see. Communism, socialism. Communism, socialism. I don't know. It's so confusing. They look so much alike. And that's what's going on in Europe. Oh, we see what's going on in South America and Venezuela. Woohoo. That one's failing pretty good. But all these idiot politicians, I can do socialism better than anybody. Wrong answer. Socialism is a great idea on paper. And I don't get me wrong. Sometimes when I was deputy chief, when we were all sitting around, I don't mean literally writing it down on paper. Oh, that looks just, it's an idea that comes forth that never goes into effect. I created several ideas as deputy chief of an EMS agency that sounded great. We all sat down and said, hey, that sounds like a great idea. Let's sit down. We'll talk about it. And then we started seeing all the holes in it here and there. But originally it sounded like this grand scheme. And it sounded great on paper, but as soon as we started putting it in reality and everybody started looking at it and picking it apart, going, holy shit, that's not going to work. X, Y, and Z, it's not going to work. Socialism's that way. Great idea on paper. Everybody gets to be equal. Everybody gets a fair share. Guess what? Not going to happen. Because those that say, we want everybody to have their fair share, we're going to make sure everybody pays their fair share. You're going to pay your fair share. You're going to pay your fair share. They never pay their share at all. In fact, they take everybody else's share and put it in their pocket. So what you're doing at socialism is, you know how everybody's becoming equal? Y'all becoming poor. Y'all becoming dependent on the government. You're becoming a junkie to the government. Your drug of choice is government dependency. Come on, man. Give me more government. I want more government. Maybe you snort government. I don't know. I don't know. I've never done government before, so, but I'm bump. It's never going to work in this country. It's never going to work anywhere. It's an idea of a utopia that'll never be. And one of the reasons why it'll never be, because we'll always have greed. We're always going to have greed. I don't think you're ever going to do away with that. Just as you're never going to do away with murder. Not because of weapons. You can get away with every fucking weapon there is in this world. Guess what? Someone's going to find a way, because we still have hands. We still have trees that we have been killing each other since the idea popped in our head when we were, cavemen. Oh, woman. I take woman. We'll always have it. Or until we can find the gene that makes mankind, violent. Hi, Vivian. Nice to have you on board. We'll always have violence in us, and we're always going to have greed. So socialism will never work, because there's always going to be greed from government. And anybody getting in government, they may have the best intentions, but if they stay in too long, they're going to be corrupt, because absolutely power absolutely corrupts. And we're seeing it at all times anymore. It really isn't just limited to U.S. government. We're seeing it all over. We have shit that's going on in Europe. The idea of the UN that was brought forth What the UN is doing right now is not what it was created for. The UN is kind of standing for everything that it was supposed to be fighting against. And that's what scares me. Everything that we fought against in World War II is being pushed by the Allied forces. And it was being pushed in the United States. Still somewhat is pushed by the Democrats. But now that we have a Republican president, it's being fought back against. And that globalism is nothing more than a continuation, a softer, kinder version of basically what Nazi Germany was about. It just was a nicer, kinder version. They're not trying to throw people in ovens anymore, but they're trying to take control of everybody and control every aspect, and they're trying to take over the world. I mean, globalism, that's what it's about, taking over the world. It's nuts. And that's what the UN is backing anymore. And they think they are the ones that should be in control because they're smarter than everybody else. Well, you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, and we will be right back.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying Catholics, stupid bro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mud Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. Welcome back. Remember, everybody, if you want to watch a broadcast, it's easy. It is easy. Just go to Reaver.1, click on the SHR TV button, and it'll bring right to it. If I'm not live, you can go there to watch all your SHR TV programs. There's a 24-hour feed going. You can go to Facebook at Jersey Joe Talks. I've been doing the Facebook Live. I don't know how long I'll be doing it because, to be honest, I don't like it. See, I have a really weird setup here. I'm working off a shoestring budget. And you know what? Go to Reaver or Jersey Joe Talks for Facebook, and I'll take you to the Reaver Common Sense page. Go to GoFundMe. I have a GoFund up. I'm trying to expand my systems here just a little. I'm not asking for exorbitant. I'm asking for a little help. $1, $2, $3, whatever. I'm only trying to get up to like $500 to try to upgrade my systems here. I'm trying to, so I can do a better video. I want to be able to do it where I'm doing my video all from one computer. That's way because I use a green screen program and I can't do that with Facebook through the camera, through this phone. So I'm still trying to learn. I mean, if you know more than I do, give me a holler. You always go to, like I said, at Jersey Joe Talks. That's Twitter, through social media. Take a look there and you can find me. Or just hop in the chat every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. I'm here. Let's see. What else? I think I covered all the bases right now. I know I am trying to remember. I think I'm going to be on iHeartRadio soon. The show will be on iHeartRadio. On iTunes. You can search for Reaver of Common Sense on iTunes to get my shows. I mean, there's so many ways to listen. It's great with the technology we have nowadays. It makes it so easy to get your voice out there. Unfortunately, we have Pelosi's voice out there again. And on this weekend's broadcast of Fox News Sunday, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi said the failed effort to repeal or replace Obamacare in the Senate meant the American people have spoken in support of the Affordable Care Act. Hold on here. Hold on. Because this is the partial transcript, and I'll play some of her wretched voice and that Chris Wallace idiot. And I don't have it queued up, so I'm not sure exactly where it is. But in the transcript, it's Pelosi, the American people have spoken. Think what you saw was just an outpouring of stories how Affordable Care Act affected their lives. Where do we go from here? And Wallace turns around and says, you say the American people have spoken, but they put Republicans in charge of the House, Republicans in charge of the Senate, Republicans in the White House. You cannot argue that they spoke in Washington. They spoke, but Washington didn't listen. And that's exactly it. She's trying to twist it and spin it, but they won on repealing Obamacare. That's what they hit the campaign trail on, repealing Obamacare, repealing Obamacare. John McCain, one of the big champions, repeal Obamacare. got a chance to repeal it. I'm going to screw over Trump and the people. Fuck the people. I just want to screw Trump over. Great one, McCain. Thank you very much. But Pelosi comes back. I'm talking about since the election day. So the elections don't mean shit to her. The fact that she's lost time and time again. That Democrats have lost time and time again on Obamacare. But since the election day, so what the repeal might be in, they've rejected overwhelmingly. We will see what it means their life. There's so many people have gotten screwed over. The care they're getting through Obamacare is subpar. It is not the life-saving, give everybody equal health care. No, people are dying from this.
And do you think that putting General Kelly in there is going to make a difference?
Well, let me take the second part. I hope so. I look forward to working with General Kelly.
Oh, even though one Democrat said he's an extremist.
At the Department of Homeland Security. So I will be speaking with him today, and we look forward to working together. It's a very important position. The president, the chief of staff to the president of the United States. And it has to be recognized that he is the chief of staff.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. You've been in Washington to see a lot of White Houses, the way they operate. Does this White House need more discipline?
Well, I can just say from my experience working with the Bush 1 White House, Andy Card had a great rapport. Everybody knew he was the chief of staff, and that was recognized on Capitol Hill, that he really was the chief of staff. And with Josh Bolton, highly respected. We all worked closely with him with our differences, but nonetheless respectful of getting results.
With the defeat of repeal and replace this week in the Senate, do you think that the Republican effort to kill Obamacare is dead?
Well, the American people have spoken. I think that what you saw was just an outpouring of stories of how the Affordable Care Act affected their lives. So where do we go from here?
But let me just say, you say the American people have spoken. They put Republicans in charge of the House, Republicans in charge of the Senate, Republican in the White House, all running.
And look on their face.
You could argue that they spoke and Washington didn't listen.
Well, I'm talking about since the election, they have seen what the replace might be, and they have rejected that overwhelmingly. People see what it means in their lives. I think it's really important for us to recognize the facts here. That what the Republicans were putting forth put 17, 20, 22, or 23 million people off the rolls, diminished the benefits, increased.
And what they don't tell you is that people would be voluntarily taking themselves off the rolls. But because taking away that mandate, people would do away with it. It's that simple. And there was a penalty put forth in those bills that if you turn down the health insurance, you can't get health insurance for 6 months, and you're responsible for your own bills. Simple. It's not hard. It's not hard, people. It's not rocket science. It just drives me up a wall, that woman does, and how she keeps getting reelected. How she keeps getting reelected is amazing. See what else. So Democrats on Pelosi's leadership in the House, it's time for a change. Representative Seth Moulton, Democrat from Massachusetts, I think. I'm not sure. I'm butchering the name. Said on Friday that there should be new leadership in the House ahead of the 2018 midterm election, echoing the ongoing call by some on the left to replace House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. I think it's time for a change, Seth told a CBS podcast, adding that the current state of Democrat leaders is not the right thing right now for the party. So let me just put this in very stark terms. Podcast host Major Garrett said, you head into the 2018 midterms. You want this leadership term to be the bumper sticker for the Democrat House Party or not? And it was, no, I don't. What is I was talking about, again, I know I say it all the time. I was talking to my dad today. And yes, I do see my parents very often. They're getting up there in age, and I try to spend as much time as I can with my parents. But my dad was saying he heard that Pelosi now says that winning the 2018 midterm isn't that important. Okay. So basically, they know they're fucked on the 2018 election. But I don't know about that right now. I know I've been a very big proponent saying, hey, they got this when they got Republicans got this. After they failed on Obamacare, I'm not sure. I am not sure. I'm not as certain as I was before. That hurt them. They promised, they campaigned. But on one hand, you didn't have that many people switch over. It never was going to really pass due to the fact that they don't have 60 senators to vote repeal. So that is something I'm hoping that they really push during election time. They push that if they lose control, Democrats are going to push to get rid of, they're going to be pushing a coup. Not because he's done something wrong, but they're going to be pushing a coup to justify, to not justify, but to, for revenge on losing the election. And they will try to impeach Trump if they're in charge. I still think a lot of people are getting tired of the Democrat, and the Democrats are in disarray. They're in disarray. And right now, I don't see anything in the future that says they're going to get it together on what the American people actually want. Something that's going to help them. I don't see that. And it's not because I'm a conservative. It's because it's just I don't hear people raving about Democrats a lot anymore. A lot of people are waking up to what Democrats really are. Opportunistic. They don't give a shit about me, you. They only care about winning elections. And the only time they care about us poor people or minorities or any other groups is during election season. That's the only time they care. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of it. I know Bill Nelson here in Florida. Oh, you lost my support. And I know a lot of people that are pissed off with you, Bill Nelson. I know a lot of people that voted for you that won't be voting for your ass again. You were just a go in there, kiss Obama's ass, do what you're told, senator. You had no originality. You didn't do shit for the American people. And when I called your office one time, they even said they don't give a shit what us constituents think. He will do what he's told. So, Bill Nelson, I did the mistake of voting for you once. My father did the mistake of voting for you once. My whole family won't be voting for your ass again. And with that, everybody, that's the show. I'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit. And I just want to say thank you, and everybody, have a great night. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.